If we're going to experience missional movement, as we're describing in this category, it obviously assumes multiplication.
Yes.
So, and healthy things multiply. I think we said it earlier, healthy families produce more families.
Right.
Okay. And so, but the big question churches, small groups often ask is how do we multiply in a healthy way?
Right.
Even as you think about family, many churches ask me, if you create these intimate families that are living so much life together, meals, parties, recreation, working together, supporting each other as family, it's going to be hard to see that multiply. We don't want to leave those relationships. Right. So it's true. It is hard to leave good, healthy, quality relationships. But again, if we have cast the vision from the beginning for multiplication, there's an expectation that that day's coming.
Yes.
Just like with me and my 5 children.
Yes.
I don't want them to stay at home for the rest of their lives.
Right.
Okay? I love them. They love me.
Right.
But we're going to send them out and send them away to start new families at some point.
Right.
Same thing for a missional community. So practically, how does a missional community do that, multiply? Is it just about moving people around and about numbers? Actually not. At the center of every missional community or missional group, there should be a core group of people that are the more mature ones that have taken responsibility for the family.
Yeah.
Call them spiritual parents, if you like. But it's the core of every missional community. As that core grows, that core then has the capacity to send off part of the community to start a new community. But really, until that core grows healthy enough, it can't do that and shouldn't do that too soon.
Right.
It needs to wait until it's strong enough.
Yeah.
I would say, I think personally, minimum for a healthy missional community is 4 or 5 people at the center of it.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, 4 or 5 adults, it's going to require that number grow to 8 to 10 for it to multiply. So when the core of a missional community has grown to 8 to 10, now it has the capacity, the strength, the health to send out and to now be 2 missional communities. But it's going to require a core of 8 to 10. A beautiful part of this, again, another question I hear from churches all the time, how do we develop leaders? We need more leaders. Where are the leaders going to come from? This is your leadership pipeline.
Yes.
As you pull more people into the core of your missional communities, they are growing up in leadership, learning to lead, learning to shepherd, learning to plan, learning to invite, learning all those things that we've talked about. They are learning those things, growing, strengthening, maturing, becoming leaders.
Yeah. And
so then they can be sent with others to start new communities in a new neighborhood, new part of the city, maybe to, you could even send them to other places. Right. Part of the beauty of this. You could send them further away, actually to another city to plant a new missional community, which is a new church, or even to another country.
Exactly.
So, but it all goes back to this core reality.
And I think that's critical in considering church planning. There's a lot of church planning strategy without missional community strategy. And there's a lot of calls to go to the nations without asking people to actually sit and be fruitful before they go as missionaries. So if we were to see church planners developed, and if we were to see missionaries sit, we have to come back to this core reality of, are you making disciples? If you're not making disciples, we're not going to send you as a church planner, or you as a church should not send somebody to plant a church if they're not making disciples in that context. So I always go back to 2 Timothy 2:2, where there's this individual call from Paul to his spiritual son Timothy, you then my son. He's got that title, that love, that affection. So that takes incredible amounts of relationship. What you've heard me teach in the presence of many witnesses, we can say that's just preaching, but really that's discipleship. What you've heard me share in the presence of many witnesses, teach others who will be able to teach others also. And there's this joy in that, this multiplication that's happened where you and I know the gospel because of what Paul told Timothy, and what Jesus prayed in John 17:20, that those who would hear the message of the apostles, that they too would have that unity that Jesus has with the Father. So we're answers to those prayers. Yeah. And recognizing that should shape who we send, how we send, and what it looks like. If a church wants to be a church that is planting churches, I would definitely challenge them to start with multiplying missional communities.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Not just a small group culture where people can sign up for a group and be placed in a group. Are there real organic groups happening that are missional communities? You can use a different name, but you have to live that out where you're bringing people into life that's already happening before you're going to multiply it. And as we think through, what does church planting look like? We've taken the approach of, we want to see at least 4 missional communities before we start Sunday gatherings consistently. So as a church plant, we started with monthly worship, a missional community, and 2 DNA groups.
Good.
And that sounds like super basic, but that has been so much more fruitful to start that way because of the relationships. So even before we invite people to a core team of a church plant, we're inviting people to a missional community.
Yep.
And that's allowing us to say, hey, this is who we are. This is where we're headed. And multiplication is now an expectation that's rooted in. Reaching the lost is now an expectation rooted in. And do we want to preach the gospel? Do we want to have people come on Sundays? Do we want to one day have big Easter celebrations and have baptisms and all that? Yes, absolutely. We want to build up the body of Christ. But if we're not starting in our homes, we really have no business taking it to the streets, right? And so we've got to start with that intentionality and that heart to multiply from day one. Yeah. Are we going to multiply? Are we going to be fruitful in multiply? Or are we just going to draw people to ourselves? So we have to ask ourselves tough questions. We have to sit in the reality of things. We have to plant with that in mind.
Yeah. So many churches I work with, unfortunately, are what I would describe as stagnant. And multiplication prevents stagnation.
Yes.
Yeah. Churches stagnate because they're not multiplying.
Yeah, absolutely.